Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm really excited to film this video. It's one that I've been really enjoying watching on other people's channels, and today I'm going to be talking about 10 palettes in my collection and whether I would repurchase them or not. Big shout out to my good brother's girlfriend Millie, who picked these palettes out for me. I can see we've got a nice variety here. There's some I love and some I don't love so much. So without further ado, let's get into it. So let's go in with this one first. This is the Revolution Very Shiny Flawless Resurrection 3, which is a really basic neutral palette. It's got some pinks in it. This one I don't use much, but I do really like the quality. It's nice quality. I don't love the tiny pans, but if you are sort of a beginner, this is a really great one. It's got some nice sort of really creamy shimmers in it, and then it's got all your sort of basic mattes that you may ever need. So I probably wouldn't repurchase this now, but if you are a beginner, it's definitely one I would recommend. Next up, we've got Colourpop Baby Got Peach. This is a really nice one. Really basic, really beautiful, monochromatic peach palette, basically. We've got the pressed glitter in. I know some people don't like the pressed glitters, but I mean, I don't know if you can see that. Come on, focus. So the pressed glitter in this is really gorgeous. It's really reflective. It's got some really nice chunky bits of glitter in it. I really like a pressed glitter. I know some people don't. This is a really great all-round monochromatic palette. If you are a lover of peach shadows, this is definitely one I would recommend. And it's still one I do really enjoy to use. The mattes are really pigmented, and it's a really great one just to throw in my bag if I'm just sort of going for an overnight somewhere. So yes, this I would repurchase. Next, we've got Neon. This is the Neon Green Pastel. Yeah, I think it's the Neon Green one. Doesn't actually have the name on the back. But it's one of the neon palettes from Huda Beauty. I love Huda Beauty big eyeshadow palettes. I do not like these small ones. This is... it just gets a no from me overall. The greens are just not how pigmented I want them to be. I mean, when you're calling yourself a neon palette, you want that to be bang in your face. The shimmers just tend to be a bit chunky. They don't pick up really well. They get hard pan really easy. I wish I loved this because it is a really pretty one, but it's just overall a bit disappointing, to be honest. I definitely do not buy these little Huda palettes anymore. I really like the look of the Love Notes one, but I thought if it's going to be this kind of quality, I'm just not interested. So big Huda palettes for the win. Unfortunately, I won't repurchase this one though. If it had gone out of my collection, unfortunately, this is not one I would repurchase if it disappeared out of my collection. Next, we've got Norvina Mini Pigment Palette 3. I love this one. This one is great around Christmas because it's greens and pinks and reds. It's got this really pretty, again, pressed glitter in it. Not some people's vibe, very much my vibe. It's got this gorgeous, really deep blue shimmery shade in it. It is a really great one. The shimmery shade's not as pigmented as I'd like it to be, but with a little bit of glitter glue underneath, it's great. As always with Anastasia mattes, these are great quality, blend really nicely. This is one I would repurchase. Next, let's do Lethal. This is... oh, I can't remember what this palette is called. No, I've got nothing. This is one of the Lethal 6-pan palettes. Let's look up its name. So, thanks to Temptalia, this one is the Memento palette. These, I don't think you can actually pick up the palettes anymore, but I think you can still get the shadows inside of it. I love Lethal shadows. This is the perfect palette for a beautiful smoky pink eye. The shimmers are stunning, so metallic, so smooth, so creamy. Lethal shadows are one of my absolute favourite shadows that I have in my collection. This is definitely something that I would pick up again if it was released today or if it disappeared out of my collection. Here we have, made by Mitchell, this is Feet on the Ground. That's what this one looks like. This is a really nice, like, grungy, deep palette. The Made by Mitchell shadows, again, great quality, really pigmented, easy to blend, easy to work with. This colour story is not something I would normally pick out, but I really, really like it. I feel like it's really individual in my collection. I don't have anything like this with these like neons and then really deep grungy shades. This teal here is stunning, and so is this like brown mustardy matte shade. Like I said, not something that I think I would have normally picked out, but I got it in a bundle with the Head in the Clouds palette, which is one of my all-time favourite palettes, which is a very like me colour story. And I'm actually really glad I had this in my collection, and if I didn't have it, if it did disappear, I would repurchase it. Whether I would actually buy it on its own without coming with the Head in the Clouds palette, I'm not sure, because it isn't a particularly me colour story. I think I'd have looked at it and gone, oh, I don't know what I'd do with that. It is one that I sort of had to watch quite a few tutorials with before I picked it up, because I wasn't sure how I would use it. So if it disappeared out of my collection, yes, I would repurchase it. If it came out as a standalone palette, I don't know whether I would. Now, if you know me in real life, I am completely 110% obsessed with cows. I love cows. They're amazing. They're my favourite animal. This is the Want Some Milk palette from Made by Mitchell. This is a very me palette. It's got the bright, the really intense, gorgeous shimmers, and then it's got these sort of grungy tones up at the top, and I think it's a really, really nice variation. It's one of those rainbow palettes that isn't a rainbow palette, or a rainbow palette with a twist, because these grungy shades up at the top can be really great for sort of if you want a neutral look, but then you've got the incredible, amazing pigmented pops of colour. As with the Feet on the Ground, these shadows are really amazing quality. But to be honest, even if I didn't like the colour story, I'd have probably bought it anyway, because it's cow themed, and cow theme and makeup, it gets a big tick of approval from me. This is the Anastasia Amrezy palette, number 1. Oh, this packaging, it's absolutely gorgeous. It's like textured glitter. The inside of this palette, it's pretty basic. It's not anything sort of to write home about. At the time I picked this one up, I sort of collected Anastasia shadows. So I think this would probably be another one. If it disappeared out of my collection, do you know what? I don't think I actually would repurchase it. I think I've used it pretty minimally, apart from this gorgeous shadow here called Barb, which is like a duochrome, like pinky glitter. But in terms of the shadows, they're good quality. It's not really my colour scheme. It's not really bright enough for me. You can do like a pop of blue on the lid. I feel like perhaps if you'd have given this to me sort of 5 years ago, I'd have been like, yes, this is the palette. But these days, it's just a little too neutral for what I like. This one is the Too Faced Natural Eyes palette. And again, this is really neutral. I have used this maybe twice. I got it from, it was like in like a Cult Beauty gift set, and it had like the Better Than Sex mascara and the Better Than Sex liner, both of which I love. And it was actually less to get them as a bundle with this in than it was to buy them both separately. In like, I think it was like a January sale or something. So I did pick it up. This is just, it's the basic of the most basic. The shadows are just a little bit lackluster. The shimmers, although they look really pretty in the pan, just don't really have anything to them. They're fine with the glitter glue underneath, but they are more like a basic metallic than a shimmer. It's such a shame because I love the packaging, but I just don't think Too Faced eyeshadow quality is for me. I have the chocolate bar original, and I don't really like that either. They're not for me, I'm going to admit, but the packaging is beautiful, but it's not something I would repurchase. It's not something I even particularly wanted to purchase when I bought it. It was just a case it was cheaper to get the mascara and the eyeliner that I wanted with this than without it. So a shame, but not a vibe for me. Now we've got BH Take Me to Brazil. This one is the ideal first rainbow palette because it has got everything. It's got every rainbow shade you would want, and a black and a white, and sort of like a bit of like a duochrome, like blue white reflex shimmer. This is a really great palette. The shimmers are basic, but the mattes are really great. It's a really nice one for like basic beginner sort of rainbow looks. It's a really great one if you want to do like a full rainbow gradient. There's nothing particularly special about it, but it is a really nice one. Now, I really like the quality. Think it's great if you're starting out with colourful makeup. Do I need it in my collection? No. It's probably not something, if it disappeared or if it came out today, I would purchase. But I do use it because it is in my collection. But I do these days prefer a more curated rainbow palette like the Made by Mitchell one. Something with a little bit of something different. But the shadows are great. And it's a good one for travelling because it's quite compact, but you've got a lot of colours in it. So if I was perhaps, going travelling and I was going to go out, like for a night out, I tend to stick this one in because it's got a lot of colours and I can do whatever I want. I'm going to end this on a dis, but I hate this palette. I absolutely hate it. I'm really sorry. It's the worst. It's just really bad. I was so excited. And it's just so disappointing. Some of the shimmers are really great. It is a one that I tend to reach for like one shimmer because at the end of the day, it's Natasha Denona. It was 60 quid. I want to get at least some use out of it. But these mattes, there's no depth in anything. The lilac barely even shows up on my skin. And I'm like Casper the Ghost Pale. This gorgeous like duochrome shade just completely sealed the pan. I like this green matte here. But that is literally about it. I was so disappointed in this palette. When we saw the images and like the images on Cult Beauty, I actually bought this the day it was released. I was that excited. But the images on Cult Beauty made it look so much more vibrant, like it had more texture to it. The shimmer shades look like the kind of creamy Natasha Denona shimmery formula that we're used to, and they just seem a bit dry. It's like she wanted to cash in on the trend, but she didn't want to put any of the work into it. I like this like lilac-y shimmer, which is this one in the corner, and then this like really like deep pinky gold reflex shimmer in the middle. But like I said, this one is hard panned. There's just nothing to this yellow one. It completely disappears into the skin. I know so many people that were disappointed by this and so many people that were so excited, and also so many people that bought this as their first Natasha Denona palette and have then never bought Natasha Denona again. And I'm like, no, this is not the quality that we expect. This is not the quality that is consistent in her range. I just think it was really disappointing, especially for like a £60 palette. Luckily, I got 20% off on Cult Beauty, or else I'd be real annoyed about it. But just every look I've created with it, I've been like, meh. I'd so much rather use my Give Me Glow Pastel Dreams or my the name has completely gone out of my head. It's the Mermazing palette from Clarity. Much rather use those two. This is not a pastel palette I ever reach for. And I was super disappointed by that one. So definitely wouldn't repurchase. Wouldn't miss it if it was gone out of my collection. Not even sure I'd notice if it disappeared, to be honest. So that's it from me today, guys. I'd love to know what your feelings on any of these palettes that I've mentioned today. Do you like them? Would you repurchase them if they disappeared? Are they your everyday palette? Do you love one of the ones I don't like? Do you hate one of the ones I love? I'd love to know what you think. But other than that, guys, thanks for watching. You've been fabulous. I've been Coleoftheball, and I'll see you next time. Bye!